Well, we are back with Dr. Martin Goebbel of Southern Boulevard Dental in Rio Rancho. Welcome, Doctor. Finally, a pleasure to meet you, by the way.
Pleasure to meet you.
I've had a couple of friends ask about you, and as we were talking, it's like, when's Dr. Goebbel back on? Well, we're glad to have you back on.
I'm pleased to be here.
Thanks. Now, Doctor, there's a controversy going on, and you and I were just talking about, is about silver fillings.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that? What's going on?
The silver amalgam fillings have been around for over 100 years.
Right.
With new technology now, the monitoring of what's released from these fillings, because they do contain mercury, the monitoring has gotten so much better that now there's a controversy. The Food and Drug Administration is saying that it's considering banning them, but they can't prove they're harmful. And they have turned it over to the dental community, the American Dental Association, saying prove that they're not harmful. Well, they can't prove that either. Mercury is released from them. The issue becomes how much is toxic, and more of an issue is the placement of them, because that's when you have the free mercury. And that's the dental staff, the assistants to dentists are all exposed to that and had been for years. Yeah.
Now, and I'm the type of person that actually, if I hear something like this in the news, whether they found out or not, I'm going to get something done. So can we get those replaced?
They can be replaced. One thing that you need to be aware of, that every time you replace a filling, the cavity or the hole in the tooth gets larger. More tooth is removed. So we have a number of replacements that are available, and some of those are short-term. They don't last nearly as long as the old amalgams did, and some of them last as long, if not longer. We have what's called the composite, which is it's a resin or plastic-based material that has quartz filler, and it's tooth-colored, much more aesthetic.
Not toxic.
Well, there's some controversy there too.
Wow.
Some of the composites contain BPA, which is a bisphenol A.
Right.
And that's also in some of the sealants that were used in dentistry. The formulations are being changed to eliminate that, but one of the side effects of having the BPA in those fillings is that it mimics estrogen. And in males, it creates issues with development, especially in kids. Well, and that's when you use sealants.
Wow, yeah.
But the composites are being changed so that that's being eliminated from them. But composites are not nearly as durable as amalgams.
Right. Now, have any of your patients experienced any, well, I guess, mercury poisoning or symptoms of mercury poisoning?
There hasn't been anything like that, no. There are allergies to things.
Right.
There's silver, there's copper, there's palladium, there's other things in the amalgams, in the silver fillings. And some patients are sensitive to those. I've had several patients with MS, multiple sclerosis, and their physicians have sent them to me or have recommended that the silver be removed. In the 10 or so patients that I've done this for, about 5 have had an improvement in their symptoms.
Well, that's...
So I don't see a 100% correlation.
And the alternatives to the silver, you were saying, are like resin as one of those things?
Resin is one of the things.
Right.
In a small cavity, resin works wonderfully. It's well supported by tooth. The bigger the cavity gets, the less likely the resin's going to last.
Right.
There's the old standard of gold restorations, gold inlays and onlays.
Right.
The problem with gold is that it is cemented into the tooth, and it actually tends to be a wedge, and sometimes can cause fracture of the tooth.
Scary.
It's been around for just as long as amalgam.
Yep. Now we have some before and after photos that we're going to show. Tell us what we're seeing here, if you don't mind.
On the left-hand side are the old silver.
Right.
On the right-hand side, in this case,
huge.
In this case, it was replaced with what's called a CERAC, which is actually a CAD/CAM generated ceramic restoration. These are much more durable, and that's going to be on my next segment. We're going to be
That's
talking
excellent.
about the CERAC and show you the technique for doing it.
Right, and not only is that an improvement, probably health-wise, but look at that. It looks a lot nicer.
Aesthetically, much more.
Yeah, let's go on to
pleasing.
the
Yes,
next
sir.
one real quick. And what are we seeing here?
These amalgams were replaced with composite.
Right.
And you see the composite, again, looks just like a tooth. The size of this filling is borderline. It's approaching the biggest extent that you want to use a composite for.
Wow, yeah. And like you said, we were talking earlier, much has changed in dentistry. I mean, it is amazing. It is amazing what has changed. Is there anything out there right now to mimic bone, the tooth, I'm so sorry. Is there something that can come closer to what we actually have?
Well, the porcelains that we now have available
Right.
are all being engineered to have the same expansion rate as your tooth does. Expansion rate's important because when you put a filling in a tooth, if you eat something cold,
It's going to shrink, right.
And if it's the same as the tooth, then you don't create a gap between the tooth and the filling.
Right.
And most of the porcelain restorations are all bonded.
And are
which-
restorations costly, by the way?
Some are more than others.
Right.
Composites are the least expensive.
Right.
Amalgam was even less expensive than composites.
Right.
In my office, we haven't placed an amalgam in over 10 years.
And do you recommend people to get dental insurance? I would imagine so.
Well, dental insurance can help with that, but what dental insurance pays is only a portion.
Right, that's true.
It's a benefit that started way back in 1967, and it started as $1,000 then.
Right, that's amazing.
Now it's still $1,000. Some have gone to $1,500, so
Yeah.
it has not, definitely not kept up with inflation.
Well,
So-
let's remind our viewers where you are located. Actually, at Martin Goebbel's dentistry offices at 2716 Southern Boulevard, Southeast, Rio Rancho. By the way, I live in Rio Rancho. Love it very much, and you have passed by it all the time. Phone number 892-8600. And thank you so much, Dr. Goebbel. We appreciate always having the information. Like I said, my friends are going to be very happy that you're on today, so we appreciate having you here. And we look forward to the next
Thank you for
segment.
having me.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too. Appreciate it.